For Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser here, wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving week, as well as a happy start to the LHSAA high school football playoffs. I hope everyone is healthy and safe, starting off both of these wonderful times of the year, the holiday season, as well as the high school football postseason in Louisiana. I know I'm certainly thankful and excited that we've made it this far and can't wait to see what's ahead these next few weeks as high school athletes and coaches from around the state battle for the right to play for some state championships shortly after Christmas. Usually this time of year, I release my playoff predictions for each of the 9 brackets via Twitter, but in the first year of the Louisiana vs. All Y'all channel on YouTube, I decided to take to a video format to go bracket by bracket and look at each matchup all the way through to some state champions. Remember, this is all in good fun, similar to March Madness and the college basketball tournament. No hard feelings anywhere, and I certainly look forward to some folks proving me wrong, and I have no doubt letting me hear about it along the way. So hopefully we can have some fun with it. Hit the button below to subscribe to the Louisiana vs. All Y'all channel on YouTube and make sure you don't miss any of the playoff prediction videos, as well as interviews with high school athletes, coaches, and sports reporters from around the state of Louisiana. Best of luck to everyone, and hopefully I'll be seeing a few of you in the Superdome in just a few weeks. What a year for the Division I playoffs for the LHSAA. This is a bracket that always has a ton of intrigue, despite, I think, most years a sense that there's really somewhere between 2 and 4 teams that are realistic championship contenders. This year, I think you have 6, if not more, 6 or 7 of only 10 teams in the bracket that I could easily see making a state championship game appearance and potentially winning one of the most coveted championships in Louisiana high school football, the highest classification of private schools. Looking at the bracket, Brother Martin is the number 1 seed after an undefeated run through the New Orleans Catholic League. They await the winner of number 8, St. Paul's, and number 9, Jesuit. And the winner of those 3 teams in an eventual quarterfinal would face the winner of number 4, Catholic Baton Rouge, and number 5, Rummel, a rematch of last year's state championship game where Rummel beat Catholic 14-10 at Tulane Stadium. And so that's how the top half of the bracket sets up, with only 1 opening round game and 1 quarterfinal already set. On the bottom half of the bracket, you have number 3 seed Bird up in the northwest corner of the state, awaiting the winner of number 6, St. Aug, and number 11, Holy Cross, a rematch of a game that was just played in Catholic League action. And then because of Archbishop Shaw having to pull out of the playoffs because of COVID concerns, number 7, John Curtis, will face number 2, Scotlandville, in another quarterfinal matchup that is already set. Up top, I do like Jesuit to get past St. Paul's and create a South Shore Catholic League matchup in the top quarterfinal, Jesuit versus Brother Martin. I like Jesuit for more reasons than them just being my alma mater. I think that they play well this time of year. They've come through the tough Catholic League schedule tested. We've seen some of the playmaking ability of Luke Besh when he gets the ball in his hands. And so I like the Blue Jays to advance. I think their run ends there, though. Brother Martin continues its undefeated run, looking for its first state championship since 1971. The Lambert brothers, Garrett Mamahat, Jalen Spears, just a long list of talented players on both sides of the ball. For the Crusaders, I think they do advance, get to the semifinals, and will face Rummel in a much-anticipated rematch for folks in the New Orleans area. And I lean Rummel slightly over Catholic right now, and I've gone back and forth on it all week. And I'm sure any folks up here in Baton Rouge that get a chance to see this, I will hear about this heavily. I've spent a lot of time with the Bears this year and for years since I've been out in Baton Rouge. And I really leaned heavily in favor of the Bears over Rummel earlier this week, but with some uncertainty of some health situations over at Catholic, not knowing where senior quarterback Landon O'Connor's ankle is going to be, what the stage might look like for the freshman quarterback Daniel Beal, who will probably play some either way, just a matter of whether he's splitting time or he's carrying the load. I think it's just a tough situation to face a reigning state champion playing as well as Rummel's playing. Kyle Wickersham, the quarterback over there, much improved this year after a ton of offseason work. Logan Diggs, one of the best weapons in the state. Colby Fields, Marcus Bourne and company on the defensive side of the football. I think in that close of a game, with some of the uncertainty I have of Landon's health, as well as several guys were held out in that regular season finale against Woodlawn, and still waiting to see where exactly they are health-wise. I give Rummel the edge in a game that ultimately has a chance to be two state championship contenders going at it in the quarterfinals. The bottom half of the bracket, I have St. Aug getting past Holy Cross, beating Holy Cross for the second time this season, and moving on to a road trip up to Byrd. Love Byron Turner, the big defensive lineman, edge rusher for the Purple Knights. I think there are great players all over the secondary for St. Aug. Like the way they've played. They're the team, as I mentioned in the 4A bracket breakdown, that upset Carr, who was looking like they may be as good as any team in the state. And so they've run through the Catholic League and played some tough games, gotten some notable wins. I think they get the best of Holy Cross, head up to Shreveport, but fall short of Byrd as Byrd continues its revenge tour. St. Aug knocked the Yellow Jackets out of the playoffs last year in an 8-9 matchup, a close game, 45-40, down in New Orleans at Ullman. And the Yellow Jackets were hoping they'd get St. Aug. I really think they do, and they get to continue that aforementioned revenge tour. A lot of lumps taken by that Byrd team last year, most of those guys back. Talked to Carson Bruno on the bracket release show. Venzel Thompson and company up there, I really think have the feel of a Byrd team like a couple of years ago that made a run to a state championship before falling shy to Rummel, where they're playing some great ball up in the Shreveport area and just don't get talked about as much because this bracket is so heavily southeast Louisiana. They get kind of lost in the shuffle and forgotten about a little bit, but I think have as much a chance as anyone to make a run to a state championship game. And so I advanced them to the semifinals to face John Curtis, which is tough for me to say, not because of any issue with John Curtis, but just because I really have been a huge fan of the way that Lester Ricard Jr. has had his Scotlandville team playing this year. I think they have a fantastic defensive end duo in Braylon Hobson and Bryce Cage. I think Jamie Cleveland is playing well in the center of that defensive line. You've got Javon Grigsby on the back end of that defense and talented playmakers all over the place. Jeremiah Jackson stepping up late, had that big interception in the Zachary game that the Hornets won 13-12. And on the offensive side of the ball, Marlon Gunn Jr., I think, is one of the best running backs in the 2022 class. Chance Williams plays all three phases and has come up huge in huge spots, including that Zachary game. The sophomore quarterback, Zay Tset, just continues to gain confidence and comfort in his role leading that offense and has tons of weapons around him, both in those two running backs as well as some wide receiver options, Marlon Thomas, Reggie King and company. And Curtis is sitting there at a low seed for the Patriots, number 7, 4-4 this regular season, and I think was kind of frustrated at times with the reaction to some of those losses when they lose to Carr, they lose to a public school in New Orleans for the first time in quite a while, and just struggle in some ways for Curtis in terms of a 4-4 record, despite being a really great team that I think is going to play well come playoff time. And I think them getting a chance to take the week rest and then head to Scotlandville bodes well for JT Curtis and company. Buddy Taylor, the junior quarterback, Caleb Spann, who I love as a three-phase player, Linus Noel, the big defensive lineman and kicker for the Patriots. Just a lot of talent there. Always a well-coached team, always plays well come playoff time, and I think they get the best of Scotlandville this year, and it becomes a learning experience for a Scotlandville team that will have a lot of those same pieces back next year, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Advancing from those two semifinals, Rummel Curtis. After all this, after all the hype of looking at Brother Martin running through the regular season undefeated, looking at some of the success Catholic had this year, everything I said about Bird and loving what they do, everything I've said about Scotlandville all year long, I keep coming back to this Rummel Curtis matchup now that I've seen the bracket set up and have my aforementioned question marks about some of these other teams. Rummel has been waiting for another opportunity at Brother Martin really since falling just shy of Brother Martin on a Saturday a few weeks ago, a game that they felt got away from them, that they had an opportunity to win and were frustrated with the outcome. I think having a chance to see the Crusaders again, the Raiders used to playing in these late playoff rounds, got the best of Brother Martin last year in the semifinals, and then went on and came up with some huge clutch plays against Catholic to win the state championship. I have Rummel advancing. And as I mentioned, Curtis, I think similar experience factors, gets the semifinal matchup, heads to a state championship game. And I take Rummel to repeat as state champions. Not something I thought most of this season or even as recently as early this week was going to be my pick. I think if I was more confident in Catholic being completely healthy right now, I may be looking at Catholic beating Rummel in a quarterfinal. I think that game could go either way, as I said, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Catholic make a run for a state championship. Really, I wouldn't be surprised by a lot of these different outcomes, but as far as my bracket pick, I'll go with Rummel and give the improved offense a vote of confidence here and say that Nick Monica and company, I mentioned Kyle Wickersham, the quarterback. I think worth mentioning Nick Howard, someone who I left out of my talk during the quarterfinal, the junior wide receiver, who I think is going to be one of the names that people have more firmly on their radar by the end of this. I think that they have a really good chance to bring this thing back to Metairie and win another state championship. Let me know in the comments where you disagree, and make sure to hit that subscribe button to subscribe to the Louisiana vs. All Y'all channel on YouTube and not miss any of the playoff prediction videos or interviews with high school or college coaches, athletes, and sports reporters. And don't forget to mask up as we head out to these high school football games over the next month or so and make sure that we can get to the state championships. For Louisiana vs. All Y'all, Jarrett Roser. Thanks for watching.